Hello there, Petals. It's you, Aunt Ethel here to welcome you to the Social Good Hour. Designed to uplift, inspire, and encourage by highlighting those changemakers around the globe who are using social media to make the world a better place indeed. So, without any further ado, my friends, may I introduce to you your friend and mine, the host of the show, the amazing Chris Strub.
Once again, having problems with the party popper to get the show started. What am I doing here? Look at this thing. I'm going to send it back to Amazon. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 3 of the Social Good Hour, live from the Fly the W studio. My name is Chris Strub, your host. We have got an awesome guest coming up later on in the show. His name is JDew. There he is, JDew. What's going on, my friend? We're going to bring JDew back in just a few minutes. But before we get going, we are going to introduce you. You, that's right. You watching at home, you watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Twitch. You are our special guest today as well. And so thanks to the power of Restream, we can actually overlay comments from every social media platform that I just mentioned, and they will show up right here on screen next to me. So try it. Go for it right now. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Twitch, wherever you're watching from, let me know where you're watching from, and we're going to dive right into our very first segment here that is, again, designed for you. There is my buddy, PR Christina. You see, I can also put her comments up on the screen as well. I know Christina is actually watching from Houston. There's my buddy, Dan Genghis. He's watching from Chicagoland. And Dan and Christina, you guys know what's coming next. I'm going to unlock my iPad. And we are going to dive right in. We are going to put 5 minutes on the clock here. It is time for Tell Me Something Good.
Tell me something good.
That's right. Tell me something good. We're going to see if I get a copyright strike for playing those 3 seconds of music. Tell me something good. If you're new here, is your opportunity. It is your 5 minutes to tell me something good that's going on in your neck of the woods, whether it's your personal life, your professional life, in your community. 5 minutes go on the clock right now. And for the next 5 minutes, these are your 5 minutes, Christina. There's Dan Genghis. It's JDew watching from the green room. Let me know where from. Tell me something good. Tell me something that's going on. Meanwhile, as your comments start coming in, I will tell you what good is going on in my life. I am giving a big time training tomorrow to my friends down in Columbia, South Carolina, at the Central Carolina 4th Midland. Christina, you're watching on LinkedIn. And we'll see whichever platform you're watching on. Let me know if we are indeed having a connection issue. Hello, the team from Azul is here. Hello, Paulina. It is great to see you. Thanks for joining the hashtag Social Good Hour, episode 3 with my buddy JDew, coming in hot in just a few minutes. This is Tell Me Something Good. This is your 5 minutes to tell me something good. Dan Genghis, I know you're watching from suburban Chicago. Another something good that happened to me lately. I got my massive shipment of Girl Scout cookies, courtesy of the Genghis family up in Chicagoland. And it was awesome. That was my Super Bowl party last night. I ate a sleeve of Thin Mints and then just passed out. It was quite the experience. Will Stewart, his something awesome is that JDew is awesome. That is right, Will Stewart. Thanks for tuning in. And again, we've got JDew coming up in just a few minutes here on the Social Good Hour. Here's some good news from PR. Christina, again, watching in Houston. Christina says, my online social media courses for both nonprofit and for-profit both start this month. That's awesome. Congratulations, Christina. That's great. Honored to be teaching with Rice University again. That's awesome. Christina, how many years have you had that partnership going? That is just fantastic. Big shout out to our friends at Rice University. I don't know the mascot there at Rice off the top of my head. I should have asked JDew. He's a college basketball aficionado. I don't know if he knows the Big Ten. Is that the Big Ten down at Rice? I know he's more of an ACC guy here in the upstate, and that's one of the many things that we'll talk to JDew about here in just a few minutes. Another good thing happening in the world of Chris Strub these days, get to see my dad this weekend. How awesome is that? My dad is getting his second vaccine shot this Thursday, and then he's actually coming down to visit Greenville for the first time ever. So can't wait for that. Dave Basulto, Mr. Iographer himself, says, every day is awesome when you do what you love. Cheers, Chris. I know that Dave loves what he does. And of course, Dave's work with IA has made many of our lives in the live streaming world, lives, videos, and lives like the life that we live every day. Dave, your work has made our lives better. So I really appreciate you being here for episode 3 of the Social Good Hour, powered by Restream. That's right. Another something good. We've made it. Once we finish up this show, we are through 3 episodes of something new, something cool, and something awesome, which we're going to talk about a little bit more here in the monologue in just a second. Christina says, I think it's going on about 4 years, which is what most say when they watch television, because 5 minutes is a really long time in the live streaming world. And I've got to consult with my live streaming board and see if we need to cut down, tell me something good in weeks to come. But this is my favorite part of the show. I mean, I love hearing what you guys are doing. And if you're watching this on replay, I encourage you to also join in and tell me something good. I'll jump in the comments on whichever platform you're watching the replay on, and we'll send you some clapping emojis, some applause emojis. PR Christina says she's getting acupuncture this week and got a massage this morning. Feeling good. That's awesome. Dan Genghis says, totally agree with Dave Basulto. I definitely did not focus on doing what you love while I was in corporate America. Now, as a solopreneur, I celebrate it every day. Dan, I can't let any cats out of the bag, but I know that you had something else cooking that was possibly something very good coming up. So maybe next week we'll get to share that. That would be cool. And yes, 5 seconds to go. There's JDew jumping in. It is JDew's birthday tomorrow, and we can't wait to get JDew on here in just a few minutes. But before we do that, oh, here we go. My director says, Chris, remember to include all the bells and whistles this week. There were certain things that I forgot to do last week, and this was one of them, actually. It is time for our weekly trivia question where you can win a copy of 50 States, 100 Days, the book. So in the comments, first one to get this answer correct will win a copy of 50 States, 100 Days, the book. Let's get the timer out of the way here. I'm going to read the question first so you all get it simultaneously. This famous actor live streamed the first Facebook Live broadcast on August 5th, 2015. This famous actor live streamed the very first Facebook Live broadcast on August 5th, 2015. I'm looking at JDew in the green room. I'm wondering if JDew knows it. Do you know it, JDew? He's smiling. He's nodding no. He does not know it. He does not know it. But do you know it? Let's take a look at your comments and see who is going to get this. You can Google it if you need to. Or I can throw you some hints. All right, ready? He's got an eyebrow that you can. He's got the most famous eyebrow, and yeah, now he knows it. Now JDew is nodding. There he is. He's nodding. He's got it. He's got an elbow that belongs to the people. He's got an elbow that belongs to the people. He is a product of the University of Miami, the U, which I know if you were a betting man, you would have certainly guessed that I would have mentioned Clemson before I started talking about Miami on the show that JDew is a guest on. There is your answer. Ding, 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 ding. It is The Rock. That is right. The very first Facebook Live broadcast. Dan Gingiss, congratulations. You win a copy of 50 States, 100 Days, the book. You just let me know where you want that book to be sent. Yeah, JDew says, if you smell, well. Got to get JDew to do that impression too when we bring him on here in just a moment. Congratulations, Dan. Just a reminder, your participation is, I clicked is. That's right. That was very smooth. Your participation is so valuable here on the Social Good Hour. But for this moment and this moment alone, I'm going to take 5 minutes for today's monologue. Today's monologue, create something awesome today. And keep those comments. Shirt that I'm wearing today, signature yellow color, of course. If you want to read it, it says, create something awesome today. This is the slogan and an ode to one of my best friends in the industry and another extremely talented Black creator and influencer in the social media space, Roberto Blake. Roberto's catchphrase, create something awesome today, has inspired me in many, many ways over the years to continue to spark my own creativity. And today I am extremely grateful to be continuing to try and create something awesome here in this live environment with you, the Social Good Hour. And in each of the last 2 episodes, I've spoken pretty openly about how this show is far from perfect. For all the live streams that I've done over the years, and you've heard me raise the refrain, just push the damn button, quoting our everyone's friend, Brian Fanzo. This show is far from perfect. It really is. Last week I missed a couple cues on my own production sheet. I forgot to play the Ethel video. Maybe my lights are a little bit off, or the background's too busy, or the camera's out of focus. The segments are too long or too short. I'm not highlighting enough comments, or we're highlighting too many comments. But damn it, I'm doing my best to create something awesome today. And I hope you are. Like to sit on taking a cross-country. You've read the book, both of those perfect as well. The host whose eyes you're looking into right now, also definitely far from perfect, never will be. But I hope that when you tune into this show each and every week, 4 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and or LinkedIn, maybe all 5, that you feel inspired and encouraged and uplifted for you yourself to create something awesome today. I talk a lot about how my good friend Joe Wilson, the phrase, we are all famous to a few people. And when I keep an eye on the viewership numbers here on the screen, right now it says 9. 9. There's 9 people watching what we're doing right now live across these channels. But whether that number said 9, 90, 9,000, 900,000, or 0.9, I don't know how you'd get to 0.9. That'd be kind of weird. I'm going to do my best to bring you the best of what I can create each and every week, each and every time you see me, not just here on this channel, not just here on this show, but everywhere, both online and offline. I'm going to give you my best. And I'm telling you today, I feel pretty dang good. I'm pretty pumped to be talking to this guy, JDew, in just a minute, because we are birds of a feather. This man, JDew, I can't wait to tell you all about. Can't wait for him to tell you. This is that's my thing. It's his turn to talk in just a minute, because he's going to tell you all about this incredible show that he created, debuted 10 years ago this week. And that's just one of many, many awesome things that JDew has created over the years. I like people that create something awesome. In case you haven't picked up on that. You saw Hannah Drake last week. You'll see Neosha Franklin next week. You're going to see many more guests here who go above and beyond to think creatively, to push the envelope, to really feel determined, to create, to push, to be that 1% in that 90-9-1 rule, to put themselves out there, to be courageous, and to not be shy about their message, to not be shy about what their face and their voice and their words mean to the people that follow them, whether it's 90,000, or 9 million. My job is to help our guest here in a minute reach that 9 million number. And when you see this interview, you're not going to doubt him. Now, let's bring you guys back up on the screen. By the way, that was the best monologue yet. I feel pretty good about it. I'm getting better at this. This is nice. This is all right. I can make it through 5 minutes of live streaming. Remember, your messages will show up live on the screen. That is big thanks to our sponsor, Restream. And I've got a message for you guys real quick from our pals at Restream. That's right. If you want to get your free trial of Restream, you can go to http://restream.teamstrub.com. Go to that URL right now, restream.teamstrub.com. Sign up for your free trial. It does help me as a creator. I'm very grateful to our sponsors, Restream. So just take a couple minutes. It's totally free, and you can play around with all these different features that you're seeing, the overlays, the graphics, the videos. Might be a little bit tougher for you to get JDew on as a guest. And that's how blessed we are right now to bring on this young man, JDew, whose intro I'm going to continue to read here. Here you go. There he is. We'll put him on the screen and make him feel humble as we read his little introduction here. By the time this man was 30 years old, JDew had entertained and empowered over 3 million at live events through speaking, sports entertainment, and the stage. His talents and capabilities are most evident in his adaptability to what flexibility in what services provide, from behind the scenes brainstorming and promotion to emceeing, handling the spotlight. There's nothing to it. 10 years, JDew was for a minor league affiliate of the Boston Red Sox, located on my block right here, and is currently the on-court hype man. He's not on court right now, though. He's in his living room. For Clemson University men's and women's basketball. In 2011, he began touring theater experiences, many day school and higher education platforms with One Voice, a Black history. In addition to those experiences, JDew is Carolina with his wife, and much better. And follow him on every social media channel at JDew. JDew, look, I even went and got another popper for you. Welcome to the show. Come on.
My man, there goes my entrance. There goes my entrance, Chris.
Would they ever put up with this quality of production at Clemson University or over at Floor Field?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that because I've been behind the scenes a lot. So I'm going to plead the fifth and just say, probably not. We'll probably figure it out during some sort of rehearsal.
JDew, I'm so glad to have you here as our second guest. And happy Black History Month. Happy almost birthday.
Yes,
happy anniversary of the show. I'm going to let you tell everybody all about the One Voice show here in just a second. But before we do that, I'm going to play a little video that I think is going to give a little bit more context. And then we'll be able to talk about that video here as we do this. Let's get this video up here.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream.
Master is often compelled to sell this class of his slaves out of deference to the feelings of his white wife. And cruel as the deed may strike anyone to be, for a man to sell his own children, then God smiled and the light broke, and the darkness rolled up on one side, and the light stood shining on the other. And God said, "That's good." This is the legend of Cassius Clay, the most beautiful fighter in the world today. He talks a great deal and brags indeedy of a muscular punch that's incredible and speedy.
We'll get to the promised land. And so I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
JDew, it's a powerful video, man.
Well, I mean, I'm in it, so I'm doing the best I can here. When you have a one-man show, Chris, there's nobody else to blame it on. So when things do not go well, as you know, with your show, right here, right? When there's just nobody else to blame it on. So hopefully, thank you. Hopefully it's good.
JDew, it's been 10 years, actually almost to the day that you debuted the show. So talk to me about that very first time. Again, hopefully maybe 10 years from now, maybe you'll come back on Social Good Hour in 2031 and we'll laugh about the high quality Amazon.com poppers that I attempted to use during your introduction here. But talk about getting started with something. You heard me talk about it a little bit in my monologue as well. The idea of creating something good. What was it like stepping out on stage and really debuting something that is so unique and so different than what everyone else might expect?
Man, those are great questions because leading up to the debut, I did debut at February 9th, 2011. That's my birthday. I turned 27 years old, and for a party, I threw myself a one-man show experience at a professional theater. But leading up to that, when the curtain opened and I looked out there, what I saw were people who had paid money to come see my experience that had never previously existed. So there was absolutely no promotion that was qualified at that point, right? Because nobody had seen it. So they were all willing to show up and pay $15, I think it was at the time, to see. There was about 115 people. But what was really crazy is that the 18 months leading up to that debut performance and world premiere was very lonely. And creating something out of nothing means that it's got to start in your head, and you've got to be able to put it on paper or put it out there in the world or record it or whatever it is, just like you're doing here with this show here in the first season, the first round. But, it was it was a lonely, you had to picture it yourself for a long time. 18 months is a long time to go. While there was nothing at that point. So fortunately now 50,000 plus people have seen the show. And obviously during the MLK holiday time in January through February, Black History Month is when I get most of the love and I get busy.
I think, a lot of the people watching are going to feel inspired both by hearing that this project that, the One Voice show, 18 months of ideation before it even began. And that's to say nothing at this point of the 10 years that you've taken to really perfect that craft. And of course, like you just mentioned, still far from perfect. I think you would admit that too, although the One Voice show is incredible. I have seen it, been one of the lucky ones, as have tens of thousands of other people around the world. JDew, I'm very curious though. Let's keep it relatable to everyone who's watching. What did you do before you came up with the show? Like what was your line of work, and where from those experiences did you come up with the idea for the show itself?
Yeah, so I was a MC for the local minor league baseball team that's in Greenville, South Carolina, where I still live, where me and Chris are both, and just down the street from him.
Like waving at you like across town here. This is fun to have a guest in town.
Yeah, so I was what we call now the director of fun, but I was the game entertainment director. So what I'm doing is all of the fun stuff that's inside the ballpark once the gates open. So I'm in charge. So I'm not only am I the MC, we'll get to that, but I'm the manager in charge of the camera guys and the replay and the PA announcer, and also all the field teams. So the girls who are down there with me throwing t-shirts, the mascot, all that type of stuff. And I am the MC. So I'm singing and dancing and throwing t-shirts and playing games with the kids on the field. And Sweet Caroline, we are a Boston Red Sox team down here. So I'm doing all that stuff as a part of the minor league team for eventually for 10 whole seasons is when I was the MC there. And that's how I spent my time. And boy, did I spend a lot of time there. There are a lot of games. For those of you who are not baseball fans, we play 70 minor league games at home. And then we play college tournaments and high school tournaments and everything else like that. So most people in the community knew me as a personality.
It's pretty cool. And you say, oh, well, we play 70 games. Well, most years we do. Not last year, unfortunately. But, I'm pumped. You guys, I'm sure, have seen me on my social media channels wearing all my Drive stuff, heading down to Fluor Field. I'm now officially a season ticket holder. Oh. So I'm sure I'll see you down at the field in a couple months when we get baseball back, which is so, can't wait. So before I roll on with some more of my questions for JDew, I do want to remind you again that your comments will show up here on the stream. Keep them coming. If you have questions for JDew, I am happy to crumple up my script. Like I crumpled up both of these up. Look at this, look at this piece of trash. Like, come on. So I'll throw out my questions. If you have questions for JDew, this is your show, not my show. So we'd love to hear from you, whether you're watching at home in Greenville or anywhere else around the world. JDew, let me pivot to this. Let's get a little bit more serious here.
All right,
it is Black History Month. But yeah, he's like, I heard, but January 20th was certainly a huge day in Black history at the inauguration. I spoke about this last week with Hannah Drake. We're talking about Amanda Gorman, but again, in researching, and I love keeping up with you on social media, especially on Instagram, you shared something recently about being able to tell your daughter that there's someone who looks like her in the White House. Can you talk about what that meant on January 21st?
Yes. Well, I do little over the course. My daughter's in first grade. I have 3 children. My oldest one is 6. And she gets lunch notes from me. Maybe some of you guys out there got lunch notes from your parents, or maybe they put smiley faces in the jelly in the sandwich. I don't know. But so I started writing some lunch notes. My wife told me, hey, say something nice to the kids in the morning. I kind of take care of them in the morning, get them off to school. And I wrote that the vice president, this is what the note said that morning of the inauguration. I wrote that the vice president looks just like you. Love, Dad. That's what I put. And I reposted that to social, so I took a picture of the Elsa and Anna lunchbox and, that type of thing, and the note, and I posted it to social, put it on. And I just said, I had a moment when I thought to myself, in the history of this country, this great nation, and all the freedoms that we do enjoy and all the opportunity that you hopefully have access to, this is the first time that anyone looking like me could have shared a message like that to their child about the administration of our country. And so whether or not that you lean left or right or up or down when it comes to politics, I thought that was a momentous time. And I posted that hey everybody, go have a wonderful lunch today, because around that time you're going to see the exchanging of the guard, right, with our transfer of power to the new administration. And I just thought that was a really powerful moment for a little brown girl that lives at my house, and for the historic value, and the future value of that, because representation matters. And really moment there. And it's not a political statement, not at all, because someone even put on my Facebook wall, should looks matter? Should the way someone is seen even matter? And I strongly believe over time, no. But in this particular situation, we've got to realize that it did matter because it's never happened before. So let's assume that we have a bunch of female brown skinned vice presidents for here into the future. It's great. That's fine. But it won't matter as much as it continues to move forward, because as Martin Luther King said, not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The point that I'm trying to make by saying something like that to my friends, not to my daughter, I didn't say any of that to her, but to my friends, to people on social, is that it does matter today. Now, we're going to judge someone by their work and by their accomplishments down the line during their entire career in the administration, in the White House, in the Blair House, whichever one the vice president lives in. But on day one, let's celebrate the diversity. So thank you for bringing that up.
Christina says it absolutely matters when it's not happened before. And she's right. And I think that these commemorations of moments are really emblematic of what your show is about. It's fascinating to watch, and I'd love for you in this next answer to also describe how people might be able to check out the One Voice show in the future. But talk about what it's been like to research some of these different moments. John Lewis and Muhammad Ali. Like the show it's just watching it as a viewer. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but I have to imagine that roller coaster was just a million times higher. Of course, not as a white guy, right? But, for you to have really dove into these different events in history over the years, how did you pick these different individuals and what was that research process like?
Yeah, everyone always wants to know. Well, my show is a timeline, basically, from then till now, Black American history through character voices. I call them voices, and those are the people that I represent or that you hear or see on the screen, because there is kind of private testimony from people on their couch who lived through some sort of experience like the civil rights movement proper, and they talk about some of their journey there. So my show is that type of experience. It's traditionally been on stage for the last 10 years. And first off, I just wanted the show to kind of be a timeline. I knew that I wanted it to kind of go from then until now. And it starts out in the 1850s-ish, Frederick Douglass. And it goes all the way through 2008. And now it goes a little bit beyond, like Chris mentioned. John Lewis makes an appearance. And his piece is 2013, when he talks about being at the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, where he spoke when he was originally 24. So all that to say, what I wanted to do was take us through a journey, because obviously there's been a lot of triumphs and there's been a lot of things that have taken place that make the African-American voice a lot more free, a lot more free than previously prior to Jim Crow being ousted, slavery being ousted, and things like that in this country. But I also wanted to pick different people that had nothing to do with each other. A lot of people may assume, especially during a socially and politically divisive time of 2020, that my content is actual political statements, and it's not. It's not social commentary on the day. It's a historical narrative. So I wanted to have people that didn't have anything to do with each other at all. Muhammad Ali is in it. I'm sure he made political statements, right? And everything at the time is political, but we've got Frederick Douglass, we've got James Weldon Johnson, and we've got several different folks who weren't trying to make political statements. Sure, that they pushed for certain agendas during their time period and life period, but I'm actually taking their words and work at the time and setting the audience in a space where you feel like it's the character talking to you, and they're sharing their words, no commentary. So you don't hear from JDew. I'm not telling any jokes. I'm not throwing any t-shirts, none of that. I'm not commenting on anything the president tweeted. What we're talking about and hearing is what these people had to say in their own lifetime about their own issues and own topics, and really taking us through that mental journey of understanding, wow, there's a lot of crazy things my grandma says on Facebook. However, you know, if we just listen to the words of these people at the time, well, you know, there's no commentary on it. We have to add our commentary to their time period. So that's kind of how it works, man. It took me, a while to find everybody, but after a few years of starting it, I'm now adding new characters, as you mentioned.
It's an extremely moving experience to get to watch it. I watched it here at home, unfortunately, last year, and I've told you a bunch of times how much I'd love to come actually see it in person. I'm certain that it's a very different and more powerful experience to be able to see it live. I want to ask you, how can someone who's watching this wherever they are, whether it might be somewhere around the US, certainly I think we're on that upswing of things starting to reopen back up. Certainly you book some opportunities as well locally. I know you've got something coming up later this month, but what's the process of having the show, be presented? Where can people go to, check it out? And, what sort of audiences do you think the show best fits for?
Good question. So a lot of folks now are expecting maybe a one-off opportunity or just a link to be able to see the show. And now that's traditionally not how you've experienced the show. It's been packaged for groups. So I show up to schools, higher ed, churches, civic groups, corporate environments of diversity training and things like that. So that's normally how the show has been viewed. But last summer, after the aftermath and the terribleness of what was going on socially, really with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, those type of things going on and the social unrest, I went to the studio and I rebuilt the show to be a live streamable or virtual experience. And now a lot of schools are actually enjoying that process right now during February of 2021. So you just have to stick close to JDew Social to really figure out when I might release the opportunity to opt in to watch the show be live streamed or something like that, where you can watch it at home and, the comfort of your environment with your family or friends or just solo. This past year was the first time I ever did that. So most of the time, people like teachers and principals and diversity directors, and after-school program coordinators, those are the folks who are actually calling me, and I'm presenting the information live in living color in person for a group. So if any of those are your groups, now corporate groups who are potentially, some corporate groups are learning how to be the last people to come back in person, right? We're working from home now. They're loving the show, and I'm working on some modules for training, for education. A lot of opportunity has really opened up. When you're self-employed and entrepreneurial, hopefully you can see the next opportunity. So I'm excited about those.
JDew mentioned his social media channels. You really are one of my favorite people to follow on social media. I think you do a really great job, especially on Instagram, where everyone within a 10-year range of you and me sort of lives these days.
Right.
So let's segue then into another recurring segment of the show. Again, if you watch every week, you'll see last week, and now here we go, episode 3. This is our second edition of what I call I See That IG. Now, JDew knows that this is coming. He has no idea what I have plucked from his Instagram. But if you scroll all the way down on It's JDew, you'll see this photo and the accompanying caption. JDew, I see that IG. Oops, let me get the correct shape here so that I'm not putting it over your face. And then we'll pull that up here. I see that IG. There we go. Boy, I would have been fired from the Drive and from Clemson by now. I see that IG. Can you tell me about tell me about this photo? Tell me about the backstory.
Yes. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, this is almost to the day.
Yeah.
2 years ago, 3 years ago.
2 years.
So,
yeah. Last year actually was a thing. So yes, it was 2 years ago. It's hard to believe. Yeah.
Okay, 2 years ago. Okay, yeah. So so I'm the MC for Clemson basketball. As we mentioned, what I have historically done at baseball, minor league baseball in Greenville, I do the same thing for Clemson University athletics and basketball, men's and women's teams. So we are playing this year, and we've played for the last, dozen seasons, and I'm doing my thing in Little John Coliseum in Clemson, South Carolina. And after the game, the DJ, we kind of are similar. We kind of tag team events. So he's doing the music and I'm doing the live stuff. He's got to jet over to track and field for the indoor experience that's going on for a meet. And I go with him. I got time, nothing but time going on. And I get there and the University of Houston is competing. And I see one of my childhood icons, who is a coach for Houston, just hanging out. And I'm like, so I'm fanboying because of what I do. There's a lot of 10-year-olds and 6th graders who like to hang with me and get my picture and get my autograph. But like, I see the GOAT himself, Carl Lewis, hanging out, coaching, doing his thing for some of the athletes. And so there's lots of people around, and, he has transitioned to his 2nd, 3rd, 4th career, as a coach. And I'm thinking, I'm going to walk up to this dude. I got to. So I do that. I walk up to him. I ask him for a picture. I think it was on my birthday. So it's right at 2 years ago. And he was gracious, took a pic with me. And I'm just thinking about, all the long jump, all the sprints and all that stuff from when I was a little kid, and through him still medaling in Atlanta in 96, and all those medals that he won. So that's what's going on right here. Me with the GOAT, Carl Lewis himself. Now, he's not the GOAT when it comes to singing. We all saw the national anthem at the Super Bowl last night. His national anthem is on YouTube. You've seen it. It's best of the worst, but everything else about him is awesome.
Well, JDew, before I take this image off the screen, I just want to tell you the way that you just lit up in telling that story, and the way that the obvious excitement and very clear emotion that you demonstrated when I pulled this photo up on the screen. That's the same way that JDew, when he met me, a nobody here in Greenville, we got introduced through our mutual friend, Leslie Haas. We met over at Gather Greenville for lunch. JDew, every experience and every time I've ever seen you meet or interact with anybody, you bring that same exact smile, that same exact emotion, that same exact sort of making everybody that you meet feel like they're the most special person you've ever seen. And, when I was booking guests for the first month here of the show, I knew that I had to have you on if you were available. I didn't know that I would be able to get you the day before your birthday and 10-year anniversary and all these things. So the timing just worked out incredibly well. But I think I speak for everyone who's crossed paths with you, including the mayor and dozens of mascots and all these different dignitaries around Greenville County over the years, man. We just appreciate having you here in Greenville. It's people like you that make me want to, who has no real ties to the city, want to live here because of that sort of spirit that you bring to Greenville. And we're all looking forward to having that energy back out there, wherever that may be, both on stage, different athletic fields all over the place as soon as we can. So thank you for doing what you do. And, I want to segue to this too and say thank you also for the great work that you've done. Also, thank you to the audience. You guys see, I still got the chat up there on the left. So if you want to jump on and say hi to JDew, your messages will appear right away. He'll see them. I want to say thank you also for the great work that you've done with nonprofits here in Greenville. And I'm gonna overlay this over the screen here, so it's going to cover us up for a second. But the Ronald McDonald House is a cause that's very near and dear to your heart. This year, you introduced some new wrinkles to the way that you've worked with the Ronald McDonald House.
Right.
So can you talk about, first of all, why it's so important for you personally to be supportive of nonprofits here in the Greenville area, and then talk a little bit about the game show concept that you introduced with the Ronald McDonald House here in Greenville?
First off, the nonprofit world needs the community support. No matter who it is, where it is in your community, what it is, nonprofits really run off the love and character of the people in the community. So I have been privileged to be an MC and fundraiser and gala guy for a lot of different groups, including the Ronald McDonald House. And I just really fell in love with the ladies who work there. It's all women staff for the last 5, 6, 7 years that I've been involved. And we have one right here in our house locally, a house locally right across from our main hospital campus. And it's a beautiful place as well. Very beautiful building, very, beautiful families who come over there in a very unbeautiful time. So I'm very privileged to be a part of what they do every year, from their big galas to some of their summer events. So the last few years, there has been a kind of a personality, a social personality fundraising effort, where you go and tap people on the shoulder. You ask them to go out and fundraise, and you let them compete against each other. So you give them little support because they know how to go do things in the community, perhaps. And you're hoping that you don't, as an organization, have to fork up too much money, time, and effort to get them to engage community members. So I'm a part of that. But every time I've done it for the last 3 years, I've been a part of it since day one. The experience has been where I have brought people to the house and done like a cookout in the backyard and brought kids over because we have a playground so kids can play and they can donate money and make paint sculptures and meet the baseball team, all sorts of things that I've done. I've gotten sponsors to allow me to sleep in the house. So act like me and one of my children is in a dire situation. So if there's a room available, we'll sleep in it, but people pay for the sponsorship opportunity, all sorts of crazy stuff. Well, this past year, we've got ourselves in a predicament with this pandemic. So we're not allowed to go in the house. Obviously, there are a lot of families who are sick and exposed to the hospital. So folks can't come in the house and participate like the stuff. I've got a game night at the house. We got a big community room, so we can't do any of it. And I'm thinking, well, I can't let the house down. They need money. They need our support in the community. What am I going to do? So as Chris mentioned, I took it to the studio. Will Stewart was on here a little bit earlier as well. So Will Stewart has a production house, a studio in Greenville. I went there and we got some of the folks who I could get to sponsor, just called them in advance. And I said, I need you to be contestants on my new game show. So we had a game show called the Ultimate House Challenge. And we were going 1v1. I was hosting, but the contestants were going 1v1 against other community members. And for every question that they got right in my little trivia challenge, the other person had to donate money to the house. So, it was a little bit of a twist on what we might see on TV, So if they got something right, the other person had to donate. If they got something wrong, they might have to donate a little bit. So we were able to raise, $8,000 in a 6-day period. For the house.
It was such a cool concept. And, I think if other nonprofits are watching, and there's a good bet that they will be, that sort of ingenuity, I think, is so important in the nonprofit space as well. Those two things, the ingenuity is one thing, but to hear that selfless spirit, that JDew has exuded over the years as well. I'm sure I speak for, I put Will's comment back up on the screen there a minute ago, but I'm sure many, many people here in Greenville, especially those who have benefited from the houses over the years, would say thank you for your work as well, JDew. We appreciate you. So let me let you go. Let me see if I can squeeze in 2 more questions, actually. A couple weeks ago, you tweeted, and again, your Twitter is, of course, at It's JDew. 10 years self-employed today. So if you need tips, I'm your boy. So give me a couple tips. I want to know, because I'm self-employed now too. It hasn't been 10 years, but give me a couple tips on being self-employed. What is it that drives you, and what do you think is so important as an entrepreneur to stay driven and successful?
Man, there's so many things, but yeah, I know you're going to make it to 10 years and beyond, Chris. For sure. So I would say to the folks,
there's no turning back now. That's
right.
For sure.
Exactly. Right. So the thing is, you got to move forward. And when you move forward, time is going to move forward, but you want to progress. I want to progress. And that's what you got to remember to do. So I would say number one is just make the next call. Keep moving forward. You're always going to need a pipeline of opportunity. And so there is not actually, even during the pandemic, right? We talked about this. My show became virtual. My fundraising effort in the summer for Ronald McDonald became virtual, and I made for the house. We as a community group, we made $5,000-6,000 more than I'd ever made doing it virtually than all the in-person stuff that I'd ever done before. There's never a lack of resources. There's only a lack of resourcefulness. So you've just got to keep thinking and looking for more opportunities. And what is the option now? So, but here's another big thing that I would say is folks who want to do something on their own, be self-employed, you're probably doing that because you're good at something and you like and enjoy doing it. Maybe somebody's paid for you to do it in the past. So it's a 3-circle approach. I'll say it again. You like doing something, you're good at doing something, and someone is paying for it. But you probably are not so great at, which same thing I was not so great at, is understanding business, understanding accounting, understanding the books, understanding how to find good people to help you do the things that you suck at. So I would suggest that you continue learning about business in and around your sphere of influence, whatever that is, people. So I'm an MC, I'm a speaker, I'm an entertainer. I can memorize stuff pretty well. I can remember it, but I needed to be able to stay afloat. I've needed to understand and up my skills about some business things. So do that and keep making the next call, because new customers and money can cover a multitude of sins, as we say at church. So it helps. If you got money coming in, you can sometimes figure out how to fix broken things in your business. So that's my thoughts so far. 10 years in, that's all I got.
Well, JDew, we'll have to do this again sometime. This has been fantastic. And we'll close on the business note here. I've got on the screen right below my face and JDew's face here. If you want to book JDew and the One Voice Show, there's the email address. That's still accurate, right? booking@onevoiceshow.com would be the best way to get in touch with you. And then www.onevoiceshow.com. JDew, man, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Thanks for dealing through all my production mishaps. I'm sure nothing has ever gone wrong with the drive though. So
many things go wrong many times. So no big deal. So it was great to be here, man. I wish you the best as you start off your new season with this show. Look forward to being back in 10 years or sooner and watching you win and thrive in this community.
Really appreciate it, man. We'll have to get together again in person again soon. Masked up again, social distanced. Mike's cheesesteaks sound pretty good over at Gather Grainville. That's JDew, everybody. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you, and happy birthday.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Enjoy,
it,
man. I'll text you tomorrow.
All right.
Well, JDew, everybody. What a great guy. What a nice guy. What a selfless guy. We're gonna put 5 minutes on the clock here for my closing thoughts here. Just pull this back up, get the right overlay on the screen. Yeah, that Greenville. I'm not from South Carolina. I had never heard of Greenville, South Carolina before the summer of 2014. A lot of people have asked me, Chris, what are you doing in Greenville, South Carolina? What is going on there? I don't have family here, although, like I said, my dad's coming this weekend. Don't have a ton of friends. You got to meet one of them there. No family here. No job. I get to work from wherever I am. It's kind of nice. But I will tell you, when you meet people like JDew, you understand what makes Greenville, South Carolina so special. The work that JDew has done to uplift and inspire this community is exactly emblematic of the sort of individual that I want to feature and highlight and support through the Social Good Hour. I'm very, very blessed to have phone numbers of people like Hannah Drake and JDew, where I can send a text or a voice message or connect via Instagram, because these people are changing the world. They're making the world a better place. My job here with this show is to bring as many of these people as I can to you. What I've learned over the last, I would say, 6 years, since doing 50 states, 100 days, and then especially last summer, was that not nearly enough people in this country know people like Hannah or like JDew, much less understand and appreciate the work that they do. And I spoke in the monologue today about 9,000 or 9 million. If this show can help change one person's life, if this show can help bring the One Voice show to one more community, one more junior high school somewhere, one more board meeting, then damn it, I've done my job. I'm very, very blessed to have some incredibly talented, special, selfless friends. And I'm blessed to be surrounded by many of them here in Greenville, South Carolina. It's my hope to continue to put this community on the map for good reasons. And people like JDew are helping lead this community through and into its next chapter. To me, what you heard in the last 30 minutes from JDew is exactly why I believe in Greenville, South Carolina. It's exactly why I believe in the state of South Carolina. I may not have rooted for Clemson when they lost to Alabama last month, but we didn't get to talk about that. But JDew's still smiling at me in the green room. He stuck around for the closing thoughts here. But I hope, as we wrap up the show here, that you watching at home, listening at home, whether you're watching live or on replay, and Mark just caught the last 5 minutes. That's good. Catch the last 30 seconds. Right? Who knows if staying on here the extra 30 seconds connects JDew to Mark, and Mark brings JDew to Cincinnati this summer. I think Mark's in Cincinnati. I only got 10 seconds left, so I don't have time to check it. But it's about changing one life. And that dichotomy of JDew talking about one voice, I'm so glad to be able to have uplifted his voice today. Thank you, everybody, for watching episode 3 of the Social Good Hour. My name is Chris Strub. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can go to guest.teamstrub.com. You can fill out the same form that my buddy JDew did and send in his information. If you would like to introduce an episode of the show, you can go to intro.teamstrub.com. And I failed to mention, but I'll mention it here before we sign off. If you are curious about any of the gear I use to shoot the show, you can go to www.strubstuff.com. I do want to say thank you again before I sign off to my pals at Restream, and just remind you that you can get your free trial of Restream at restream.teamstrub.com. That's restream.teamstrub.com. I will see you right back here, same time, same bat channel next week for episode 4 of the Social Good Hour with Neosha Franklin from the St. Louis Community Foundation, one of my absolute favorite humans on earth. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. GMT. Again, it's restream.teamstrub.com. And I'll see you back here next week. Thanks for watching. The Social Good Hour with Chris Strub features uplifting, inspiring, inspirational individuals from around the world using social media to make the world a better place. And Chris is looking for new guests for the rest of season 1. Visit the URL on the screen, guest.teamstrub.com, and fill out the form for yourself, for a coworker, for a colleague, or any individual you think would make a great guest for this season of the Social Good Hour with Chris Strub.